Hi there guys, this is Max with Family Piano Co. And standing right in front of me here is one of my favorite grand pianos of all time, and I've played on quite a few. This is Kawai's GX-2. This is their classic Salon grand, and it is just extraordinary. Today, I mostly want to talk about it through the perspective of a piano player, because I feel that there's so much information on there about, the specs and everything like that. And I'm certainly going to get into that, but I want to funnel everything into the viewpoint of what matters most to a player. So the first thing that's going to stand out, that's going to make this piano different from any of the other pianos that you might be considering, is the carbon fiber action, the Millennium III Action, which leagues away as one of my absolute favorites to play on. Compared to like a traditional wooden action that you might find on a Yamaha or a Steinway, traditional wooden action, tried and true, can be fantastic, but there's a lot of things that carbon fiber can do that's just really amazing. So the first thing that I notice as a player with the carbon fiber action tends to be a greater touch sensitivity, which relates to better dynamic control, especially favoring quiet dynamics. So when I'm trying to play nice and quiet, the extra dynamic control that's offered by carbon fiber, being such an efficient transfer of kinetic energy, just really makes you feel very secure that every note is going to sound exactly how you want it to sound at the exact millisecond really that you want it to sound. Another thing that you notice, or at least that I notice as the player, is note repetition on this action is just phenomenal. Playing a trill, for example. Whether it's due to the lighter weight nature of the carbon fiber, which, by the way, I wouldn't call this a lightweight piano. It's definitely moderately weighted, but it is generally lighter weight. I'd say it's maybe at the 40th percentile, meaning 60% of pianos are heavier. So it's definitely lighter weight than the average, but not by very much at all. Nothing that makes it difficult to get a hang of. But both the lightweightness and the extra responsivity make note repetition just really easy here, especially not just trills, but tremolos. Very easy to play them and to be confident your notes are going to repeat exactly how you want them to, and also to be very confident that the exact dynamic you're putting into the piano is coming right back to you. And that's really what makes the GX series, my absolute favorite of Kawai's Grand series. Not talking about the Shigeru Kawais, which of course are a lot like the GX series, but just a lot more time gets put into them, and a price tag increase, of course. So one thing I find, just incredible control. Can be perfectly confident, no matter how light your touch, that everything is going to hit exactly how you want it to hit, and that's what I love about playing on this piano. right at 5'11". This is just a really good size. As you approach 6 foot, we're in a pretty large room right now. We're in our showroom, and it definitely fills up the room, but it's not at all overkill. For most mid to large size rooms in your house, a grand approaching 6 foot, right around 6 foot, is just gonna have a really good sense of balance. And of course, by balance, I mean how the bass here interacts with your mid-range and your upper ranges. No one side is overpowered. Right around 6 foot, they're all just around the exact same, which gives you a lot of artistic liberty. For example, when you get up to 7 foot, sometimes the bass range can be a bit overpowered, which makes sense if you want to be playing in a large room. That can help. Then you get to 9 footers, and by then the bass can be pretty overpowered if you're not watching how you balance your own playing. But to give an example of the bass here, get an ample amount of bass power, but you also get a lot of clarity too. Just listen, one test I like to run on a grand piano for clarity is just a simple 5-note scale, and I'm listening for how closely I could distinguish between these tones. There you go, you want to hear the da 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 da, real nice and clean. Then you have your mid-range here, which is really nice and projective. So listen to the way that it's able to stand out over a light bass accompaniment. And the sound is very pleasant, very rounded, very full. But one thing I love with the GX series is there's gonna be a little bit more brightness to the sound than there is on, say, the GL series. In general, every grand is going to turn out a little bit different, but a big reason for that both has to do with the overall sound design that they have going on with the GX series, as well as the Kansai Katagi mixed wood rim here, which I'm going to show you more of a close-up of what that looks like. But essentially they mix different hardwoods, and it adds more complexity to the sound, and it adds a brighter character. Not to say by any means that this is a bright piano. It's definitely not a bright piano, but there's more elements of brightness to the sound, which really helps things to stand out. So if you like the way that Kawais feel, because even GL10 has the same overall action as this, but if one thing about Kawais you think that they're too warm or too mellow, really look at the GX series, because I think they solve the problem, which isn't really a problem, it's a subjective thing. Then looking at our top range here, you get a lot of sound. It's a big sound. It's a nice rounded tone. And listen to how it kind of mixes in with our bass and our mid-range. Again, right at 6 foot, everything is just very, very well balanced. So, overall, in terms of sense of touch, I love the Millennium III Action. It makes bringing out voicing really nice and easy. Like if you want a strong bass, you want maybe something counterpoint, multiple melodies going on. It's so sensitive that the slightest difference in your touch really comes out in the sound in a way that I feel that wooden actions Tending, I mean, it of course has to go with the quality of the instrument overall, but the way that you can be very confident that every note really has the same touch to it, and the result of the note is going to be directly tied to what you input into the piano. There's really no lost energy going on, or much, much less. Makes you feel very directly connected to the piano. So that's kind of talking about it from a player's perspective. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the GX series. So one really nice thing, as you can see here, is the aesthetic of the piano, which is just absolutely beautiful. So they call the GX series their BLAK series. And in Japan, there's an association of black with nobility. So essentially, you know, it's called the BLAK series, and it's because it's very, very good. And I want to kind of point out the aesthetic differences compared to the GL series. You have a GL10 over here. It's in the middle of getting tuned and worked on. But one of the ways that you can see the difference between the BLAK aesthetic series and kind of their more run-of-the-mill GL series, the plate, very different. On the GX series, it's much more bronze. Then you have kind of the decals and the logos are going to be in black as well, where on the GL10, kind of a little more generic. Then your felt as well is going to be black, meaning this felt here on the fall board, and the felt running along the inside here. You can also see these guys. I'm going to point to them. Here are your agrafes, which are, hopefully I pronounced that right, but hopefully. So these agrafes, they're not in the GL10, as you can see. And essentially, they're usually on very good quality pianos, and they both provide extra support to the strings there to make sure they stay in the same exact place. They determine the speaking length of the string, and overall they just add a lot of stability to the design. Now this rim, the wood rim, is another big difference from the GL series. Here's the GL, a little more basic, and then here is going to be the GX Kansai Katagi rim is what they call it, and it's a mix of hardwoods, and essentially what it does is, because the rim of the piano is very important to the sound, it contributes quite a bit to the complexity of the sound. And if I kind of play just a couple notes here, then I'm gonna play the GL10. Of course, there's a size difference, but mostly I'm going for the character of the sound. Of course, it's getting its tuning checked up, but there's quite a big difference there. This sound is much more complex, much more beautiful overall. In terms of the aesthetic differences as well, you can see kind of how they do their short stick, and then how they even have this bronze, or brass rather, much more fancy. Just, it's gonna look a lot better than the GL series. Not to say the GL series is a bad looking piano, it's absolutely not. Like, it looks great, but it's just obviously much more luxurious on the GX series. So it's all around just a great piano. The Millennium Action also gives you extended key stick lengths, which is really nice, and concert key buttons. So overall, that really helps to contribute to the strength. You also have a laminated treble bridge, which is actually, I believe 13 times laminated, which provides a lot of strength. Because really in a piano, you don't want anything moving around over time. So Kawai designs their pianos not just to be working really well for like the first year that you get it, the first 5 years. You know, if you get a piano like this, they're looking to take care of you for life, and you're gonna have a great piano for life. So this is the Kawai GX10, the GX2, and in my opinion, one of the very best pianos on the market. If you're looking for something around 6 foot, you want something new, and you want something that just plays incredibly well and is something you can have in your house for a very, very long time and have it be part of your family. This GX-2 is going to be fantastic. if you have any questions about Kawai GX series, or GL series, or uprights, or digitals, feel free to reach out to me, max@familypiano.com. I'm more than happy to help however I can. And please like and subscribe to our videos if you like this kind of content. We're hoping to keep things going and bring a lot of interesting stuff for you guys to see. So thanks again. Thanks very much for watching.